I now call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals for the City of Jasper, the second day of July 2025. Secretary Duchess, would you please take roll?
Yes. Jerry Miller.
Here.
Julie Duchess here. Blake Kruger.
Here.
Andy Smith.
Here.
Dennis Pedro.
Here.
Renee Cabrick. Josh Hank.
Here. And so it seems like we have a forum tonight, so moving forward then, I ask everyone who's able to please stand for a voluntary pledge of allegiance. Everyone received the minutes via email this last week. I'm asking if there's any changes to be made. If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Dennis. Second by Andy. All those in favor?
Aye.
And with that, let's move on to the public hearing for this evening. We are now ready to begin the public hearing scheduled for this evening. With respect to tonight's meeting of public hearings, we are hereby incorporating the by reference into the record of tonight's meeting and public hearings. City of Jasper Ordinance Number 2016-30, titled Unified Development Ordinance of the City of Jasper, Indiana, its jurisdictional area and any and all amendments thereto in the City of Jasper Comprehensive Plan. Pursuant to Article 5, Sections 2, 3, and 4 of the BZA Rules of Procedure, presentations by a petitioner shall be limited to 15 minutes. The call for remonstration shall be limited to 20 minutes, with the individuals limited to no more than 5 minutes at the chairman's discretion. Such time limits may increase by the majority vote of the board members present. With that, we'll move forward. According to our agenda, the very first item has been withdrawn tonight. So we'll go ahead and go to item number 2. Brian P. and Lori A. Murphy as owner and petitioner located at 1050 North Sapphire Drive, Jasper, Indiana, with one variance request, variance from Chapter 4, Section 4.4, Rural Residential District Standards, the city's Unified Development Ordinance 2016-30 to allow a rear setback less than 15 feet. With that, I will ask, looks like Mr. Edward, please state your name and go from there.
Good evening, board. Happy July to you. Brad Eckerly, Grossman Land Surveying and Engineering, here on behalf of Brian and Lori Murphy. Brian, the homeowner, is here this evening with us. So this variance request is related to a proposed detached garage accessory structure. Is located in Diamond Ridge Estates, which would be the northeast corner of Sapphire and Brescia Drive. We are zoned in a rural residential area, and I'm going to that's just a quick area. I'll just give you reference where we're located. So south is Brescia Drive, Sapphire in the west. To the northeast there, that is unplotted land. Actually beyond the limit, the corporation limits of the city of Jasper, but there to the southeast, that is part of Diamond Ridge, and to the west as well. So keep going with the fourth aerial. So when the Murphys reached out in regard to the location of their proposed garage, you can see that their drive comes off Sapphire Drive. You can see my notes at my bottom. There were 2 action items. When their house was constructed, the purpose, and you can see like the front of their house along Sapphire, the building set back there with the house located the way it is, really based on the topography of the land, with it being higher than the roadway and also along Brescia Drive as well. So that's part of the reason why their house wasn't pushed northwesterly closer to the setback. So the pink there's the detached. Since the initial conversation, basically I had explained per the plat, there was a 20-foot public utility, or there is a 20-foot public utility and drainage easement along that east line. And then along the southerly line, there was a 5-foot PUD added related to the gas line. The gas line you see is City of Huntingburg's gas. There is no other utility, no City of Jasper would be impacted by this. So the two phases of this would be one, a variance specific to the rear setback. And then secondly, would need to be in an action item specific to the public utility and drainage easement. And that would be in the form, you see the notes here. My recommendation initially was for a vacation, but it could be just an encroachment request as well. So there would need to be approval related to that specific to the existing easement. So for this purpose, that's referenced, but yet we'll talk just the setback itself. So the rear setback RR for an accessory is 15 feet. And so with the addition, basically the Murphys had modified their proposed. It was a larger structure initially. With this, they had reduced that footprint, but still leaves us to where we could provide a 10-foot public utility and drainage easement, and then that rear setback would be, I think, 11.5 feet is the request that I had. So you go one more. So specific to, here's a sketch just showing basically that the architectural components will match the house. Ryan provided this exhibit showing basically you can see the front elevation of the house, and really the detached structure would match that. Yeah, so so be conforming in that regard. And the next picture down, it just gives you an idea of the location that would be. I told Brian he needed to clean his mulch. So basically with the variance request, the mentioned public utility drainage easement, obviously it is imperative that we maintain the easement for the utilities, but in coordination with Huntingburg, that would satisfy then their clearances thereafter, allowing us for the option to seek that at the next step. So but basically the use and value of the residential property would not adversely affect anything in the area. The architectural, there's a barn that you saw in that picture. You can see that is actually the neighboring barn there as well. So, and really the source of it was driven by the fact that the topography in that house being back, just to get function on a detached from the attached garage. So with that, any questions?
I may have misheard you, but you said that you did reach out, or you've spoken to City of Huntingburg for the gas from Huntingburg, and they said that it'd be okay.
Yes, not in detailed form because I wasn't not waste their time, but I didn't want them to get busy before kind of the due. So it was basically just confirming. So I guess.
So in this case, right, we're not worried about the setback. The easement part is that's the whole gamut. As long as
Have you talked to Jasper City Utility Department as well?
We did. Yeah.
Yeah, they are on the so far.
Yeah. Because basically out here we are storm and sanitary.
Sanitary.
And with it built out in the area, they're fine. And you know, even with that being said, like when we have vacant land for a new plat, our intent is for a 20-foot minimum to get 10 and 10, so you don't burden. You know, but technically, if you do have a 20-foot easement, say that land in the east was platted, you actually wouldn't have to unless by chance they need to. It's requested by utility to add that. Or whatever.
Yeah, to answer your question, yes, the only thing we can do is the setback issue. So go two ways for them to approach it. Or they want so just only just see
we are a corporation, it's ancient jurisdictions.
Members of the public would like to come speak on this. To letters or concerned with at this time.
Sorry, I know I asked you this every time, percent wrong. The request is to approach common adopting with the variation from 50%.
Less 15?
But I believe you got into foot and a half or something to that thing.
That's what I was trying to find, I was explaining earlier. So within the finding of facts, I had the petition 5-foot rear setback. So to provide and maintain a 10-foot setback.
Yes. That's the only reason. Say that sometime.
Entertain the motion to close the public portion of the common portion. Motion. Being said, not having seen any other questions, I would entertain a motion to accept the variance as presented or deny the variance as presented.
I'll make the motion, to go ahead and approve the variance from chapter 4, section 4.3, our district standards, the city's unified development ordinance 2016-30, to allow rear setback less than 15 feet. In this case, it would be,
As presented. Yes. I believe you agree with that. Motion made. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Dennis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Based on the information presented to this Board of Zoning Appeals, we have determined that all the following three criteria to be true. The development standard variance requested will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. That the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantial adverse manner. And thirdly, the strict application of the terms of the Jasper zoning and subdivision ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the properties for which a variance is sought. Therefore, the Board of Zoning Appeals grants the variance request.
Thank you.
thank you.
We move on to the third and final deal for this evening. Deaconess Memorial Medical Center as owner of petitioner located at 800 West 9th Street, Jasper, Indiana. They are seeking 5 variances. I will read all 5 and then we'll let them discuss them at once. I think it'd be easier to try to do one at a time tonight. First variance requested, variance from chapter 8, signage, section 3.A.12, exemptions, exempt signs, directional signs of the city's Unified Development Ordinance 2016-30 to allow directional signs to exceed 4 feet in height and or 4 square feet in area. Second variance from chapter 8, signage, section 6, standards for agricultural and residential districts, D1, institutional signs of the city's UDO 2016-30 to allow more than one sign to be displayed per lot frontage. Third variance requested. Variance from chapter 8, signage, section 6, standards for agricultural and residential districts, D2, institutional signs of the city's UDO 2016-30 to allow the aggregate size of all signs to exceed 24 square feet in area. Fourth variance. Variance from chapter 8, signage, section 7, standards for business, section D2, industrial and conservation park districts, D2, freestanding signs of the city's UDO 20-30 to allow surface area of a monument sign to exceed 50 square feet. And the fifth variance requested, variance from chapter 8, signage, section 7, standards for business, except B2, industrial and conservation park districts, D3, posted panel signs of the city's UDO 2016-30 to allow the maximum surface area of the panel to exceed 15 square feet in area in a landscape orientation. With that being said, would someone like to come out and present this to us, please? Please introduce your name and organization. That would be great.
Good evening, I'm Scott Elbers, I'm with Custom Sign. We're in Newburgh, Indiana. We do not all, but majority of the work for Deaconess Hospital. As you know, they've acquired or merged with Deaconess or the Memorial Hospital. And we are tasked with trying to get all the patients to their correct areas. And it's while it's a very large complex, we're trying to do it with the minimal signage is what we can. We're trying to switch like for like signs. The current signs are 66 inches wide. In order to keep with Deaconess brand standards that we use in all of their hospitals, we've increased that to 68 inches, which is very minimal in size, so we're 2 inches larger. In width, but the height is a little taller, and that's where we're getting into the square footage issues. We've added some directionals as well, as far as the emergency panels and the actual panels themselves, to where we're directing people. So increase the size just a little bit as well, but very minimal when you really look at the whole scope. There are several signs, but we are replacing like for like signs. So there is only one illuminated sign. That is the sign on the tower itself. It is currently illuminated, so we're not asking for any more light pollutants or anything of that nature. All the directional signs are non-illuminated and will have a reflective copy on them, to where they will only be visible when headlights hit them. And it's only visible to the headlight that they're reflecting back to. So it's not like we're portraying light or anything, we're treating light anyway. So, of course, there are several areas that we need to direct people to, as they have before. That's the reason why we're trying to stay with the same number of signs. So basically, that's all we have. I mean, I'll answer any questions basically that you have for the need of signs, but there are 10 signs total, and there are some signs we are not changing. Some of the signage is going to remain. But I'll answer any questions that you might have.
First question is, you mentioned about the height variance. Is there, when you say not much, what's not much, I guess, is what we want to know.
Yeah, well, they're 96 inches. The current sign for each sign, I can get that for you. So that's the. I'm sorry.
Do you mind just stepping us through the sign?
Sure.
Yep.
Sir, if you could just real quick walk us through,
Okay.
not in detail, but more so just so we get an idea of what we're talking.
Sure.
And you said there were 10 signs, but I think we identified like 13 or 14 locations here. So if there's a variation or something, just let us know. That's
So sign number 1 is what we're calling the main complex sign. It's a 4-sided sign. That sign is currently, I'm trying to find that dimension. Yeah, I'm looking for the existing sign. I apologize. It's not on there. Okay. That sign, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's 7'6" tall now. And we're increasing it to 96 inches. We like that airspace below. The current signs have a more or less like a skirt at the bottom, as you can see, to go all the way to the ground. We like to leave a little space there. Vegetation, shrubbery, it keeps that, from blocking the directions, the directional panels. So that's the first sign. Once again, it's 2 inches wider, about 6 inches taller. So then sign number 2, which is the direction just due east of that. That sign is approximately 6 foot tall, and we're increasing it to 8 foot, so it's going to be about 2 feet taller. Once again, a lot of that is because of the airspace we're keeping at the bottom. And that's open airspace, that's not filled in with the bottom. That's it.
That's in that.
I'm sorry,
That new sign will replace the monument looking one.
that is correct, yes. So the sign that you see to the right is the existing, the signs that you see to the left, the direction. It's a double-sided sign, there's 3 panels there, but that's one's just showing the size of the sign. And then the ones to the left are actually showing what each face of the sign would look like. Sign 3 is just a little bit further to the east of that. Once again, that's a 6 foot tall sign. We're increasing it to 7 foot forward. Once again, it's only 2 inches wider. By keeping it the same width, well, it's not going to obstruct, traffic or visibility in any way. Sign number 4 is just to the north of that. That sign is also 6 foot tall. We're increasing it to about 6 foot 8. So just a little bit in height. Once again, most of that's due to the airspace at the bottom. Sign number 5 is the other side of the campus. Where to go from that main sign number 1, it would be just to the north of that. That sign is it's 5 foot tall. We're looking to increase it to 80 inches tall. Moving to sign number 6, that is inside the complex. You really can't see that sign from the roadway. So that sign, we're basically keeping it, it's just a shade taller, but that's a roundabout there. So you pull in one or canopy, come back out. So that's really not even visible from the roadway. So sign number 7 is at the corner all the way. That sign sets back a little bit from the roadway. That sign is about 5 foot tall. Once again, we're increasing it to about 6 foot 8. So this is the only illuminated set of letters. The Memorial Hospital sign letters that were there, those are halo lit letters. So when they light the wall behind it. These are going to be face lit letters. They'll be mounted on raceways. The main reason why we're putting those on raceways is because the wiring accessibility. That's a finished wall behind. Those letters were put up when they actually expanded and pre-wired before the wall was done behind. So now we don't have that luxury. So all the wiring's going to be in the raceways, which is very common for signage. Those are non-illuminated signs, letters. The current letters are also non-illuminated. They're quarter-inch plate letters, stud mounted to the wall. It's once again, it's a like-for-like sign. This sign here, I believe we had an email on this sign from someone stating they would possibly like the sign moved back. And we're willing to do that if need be. Keep in mind that sign, the current sign is 6 foot tall. As you can see, this sign's only 4 foot tall. So I think when you're sitting in your car, you would actually see over the sign. The bad thing about moving it back is that it really slopes off quickly there. We would have to increase the height of that sign. So if we do move it back, where it's actually going to be placed is going to be taller than 4 foot if we move it back. But we're not opposed to moving that back if we need to. So this is sign 8. Sign 8 is we're leaving that sign. Okay, sorry. So we're not going to be manufacturing that sign. That'll remain. That'll stay as well. That one is staying.
That's actually staying. That one's incorrect, that one's actually staying empty.
Yeah, that one's actually staying, yes. Those are the ones we left there. That's it.
There's some temporary form.
Um, I do not, however, what we could do is we could put a dimmer on that. And if there, you know, I can tell you that from the property line, you would never tell any lumens coming off of it. It is, if you look at the sign during the day, the sign is black. Okay, so at nighttime, it lights white. So what happens is that there's a perforated film on there that, it's got white plastic with a black film on it. So when you're at a distance, it looks black. When it illuminates at night, only the little dots is what's gonna light, and you can't tell it from the distance. So it's not gonna be as bright as a true white sign. It'll light white, but it's not gonna portray as much illumination, let's say, or light pollution. But if need be, we could always put a dimmer on it to where if there was a problem, we could always dim it.
Pretty confident it's not gonna be intrusive of any nature. We do have, though rarely, of course, we have a foot candle requirement at the property edge. So maybe just reach out to us and we can give you that
Sure.
standard. If you think it's gonna be an issue, you can handle that or address it as you see fit, but I don't think you're gonna meet that standard.
No, I can assure you that if you put a light lumens meter at the property line, it would never change by that sign. I can assure you that. It's not like a message center or something like that. It's very minimal. And even 10 foot away, I would say it's very.
Anyone from public want to come and speak on this?
Yeah, there's, Josh, says, we spoke the other day about the new signage going around the hospital. I was concerned about the placement of sign 13. When you are coming out of the hospital property onto 13th Street, it is very difficult to see traffic coming from the east. I know you said that the sign is within the usual parameters for being off the road. However, there is a power pole just to the east of this sign. When you get past the sign, to see to the left, the pole is now in the way. Also, another factor is the grouping of poles at the southwest corner of this intersection. There are a number of large poles there also, so that you would block in both directions. I know the poles cannot be moved to the drivers could be reduced a little by just setting sign number 13 back to the south couple feet. It would be open a bit larger window for viewing oncoming traffic from the east. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for your time, Josh.
Does this picture accurately represent the existing sign as well as the new sign? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, that is the scale.
That is the
Yeah.
scale.
Jerry, I did go check that. It is outside of the southeast corner triangle. And when you pull up to the stop sign, I didn't get past the stop line and I could see clearly without any trouble to the east and west. So,
I've never, 16 years in.
We drove it before we came just to make sure. But, I mean, I will say that I think they are willing to move if that needs to be, but we really don't feel that it needs to be. It's going to be lower and it's out of the sight.
You can see the difference in the top of the new sign as opposed to the top of the existing sign. And that's going to provide some pretty clear signage.
Yeah. Phone call that I had with the superintendent, his intention was that it was cars as they cleared the hill, and if this truly is the scale, the new one will surely allow for a side of gunners out of the building right there. Right, and then set out this point, for the city, measure it's outside, in fact, all of the other ones along the perimeter, right, outside the side, right, so. From our standpoint, it's a safety issue.
Second by Andy, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, I will entertain someone to make a proposal. In this case, I think we can combine it all into one, as long as we verify that the plan is presented. Is that correct, Josh? Ms. Grace, or do you want
If someone in the board were to make that motion to encompass all as presented, you could, if anyone has doubts or questions about any sizing or location or anything of thereabouts, I would ask you to go individually.
I have no faults. I'm in favor of it. I'll make a motion to accept the packet of resolutions as presented at 800 West 9th Street in Jasper.
motion by Dennis to accept all 5 variances as presented? None. Second by Andy, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Based on the information presented to this board of zoning appeals, we have determined that all the following 3 criteria to be true. The development standard variance request will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. That the use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantial adverse manner. And the strict application of the terms of the Jasper zoning and subdivision ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of property for which the variance is sought. Thus, the Board of Zoning Appeals grants your 5 variance requests. With that, it's a through here. Josh, anything new or anything legal?
2 things this month, as many or some of you may know, City of Jasper has engaged a contractor to walk us through the process, which will begin hopefully at the end of this month. I got Andy Smith represent your board in that process, so as Andy learns things, hopefully he'll report back to you, or if you have questions, you can ask Andy or myself. Then additionally to that, this summer, as with every summer, my department has a new intern. That's Wyatt Koenig, who's sitting to my right. Wyatt's doing a bang up job, but Wyatt, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Wyatt Koenig, I'm from Santa Claus, Indiana. I was here at Chills, and then I'm at Ball State now, studying political science. Yeah, I work for the city of Muncie up there. Do something in municipal government in the future. We're related.
Congratulations. Excited to have you on board. I know you're going to learn a lot from Josh. Josh is very thorough on what he does. Does a fantastic job for us as well, for everybody here. So, okay, with that.
Big motion to close the.
Motion by Dennis to close the tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
Second by Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? See you all next meeting. Next meeting is what, August 6th. We will see you then.